Hi Vitalik.
Hi.
Welcome to Romania.
Thank you.
Something easy to start with. Tell us about maybe how you see let's say the crypto community in Romania. On one hand, maybe on the user side, but on another hand, also maybe the development side that I know are familiar with.
I guess it's difficult to answer after only a day here. I guess the things that I've noticed so far, there's definitely just seemingly a lot of good technical talent working on all kinds of interesting projects. There's what was it, Elrond is based here, a bunch of random stuff like Crypto Compares here. There's actually the GEF team. I guess more in Cluj than in Bucharest, but it's still the GEF team does a lot of hard work. Very smart people. It does seem like there's just a lot of good technical talent and just people interested in doing interesting things all around, which is always good. As far as users and what people use crypto for goes, well, I guess I haven't really talked to many users yet, but I would love to. I don't know. Do you have any impressions about what people use crypto here for?
Right. So actually, this kind of leads to a second question. I think crypto usage in itself is picking up in Romania, and I think something that maybe we're seeing more of a need for is the, let's say, ease of use and everything, and all the wallets and everything. So I think that's something where the Romanian users are,
Right. It's like starting to go from highly technical users to less technical users, and that's the challenge. Yeah, I think a lot of places are going through that kind of peak right now, right? There's a bit of this kind of imbalance that you see, right? Where if you look at the statistics in lots of countries, it's 10 to 40% of people have heard of crypto, even have crypto or something, and then if you look at the people in the communities who go to the meetups and spend all day reading the forums, it's very few. So I definitely think the space needs to be better at dealing with people who aren't willing to dedicate their entire lives to it. There's a lot of things that I've been trying to push for to try to improve things. For example, multi-sig wallets and social recovery wallets. I've been a big fan of those, right? People need ways to store their coins and to just store their accounts that isn't vulnerable to them just losing their coin, their keys, and losing their phone and then losing everything, or just everything getting stolen. And also is not completely centralized. So I think if the people pushing the decentralized solutions don't work hard and make sure they provide what people want, then everyone's going to gravitate toward the centralized stuff, and that's going to be hard to reverse. So it's definitely something I care about, and I've been pushing for. The account abstraction proposal that I published, I think 2 weeks ago, is also very much about that. I guess. So that's definitely very important. The other kinds of there's also other kinds of ease of use, right? There's just ease of getting it into the crypto space, for example, and that's more of a country by country thing, right? Because you have to deal with regulation, deal with the local banking system, deal with local different payment systems and different ways of actually getting cryptocurrency. Actually, how is the situation with that here?
So we actually have Romanian exchanges even. So there are on-ramps right now. I think one thing to keep in mind is the people with not that big of a balance, let's call it.
Right.
And this kind of leads me to let's say all of the layer 2 scaling efforts. And maybe you can share some of your views in terms of let's say in Romania many people don't have big balances, so they maybe see some friction into transacting with ETH, and there's this whole L2 effort. How do you see this ease of use component for the L2 area, where you need to bridge your tokens and all of those?
No, you make a good point. Layer 2 is very important. I think scalability is extremely important for a lot of people right now, and for people who like don't have a lot of money, like those are the exact same people who often tends to be excluded from traditional financial systems the most, and the ones who need crypto the most. So it's really important to help them. I think the good news over the last few months is that layer 2s are finally kind of moving from being like theory to being a reality, right? Like, Arbitrum exists. You can deploy things on Arbitrum. Polygon acquired Hermes, so now like they're not. Today they're still a trusted sidechain, right? Like so today everything's still in this kind of transition step, but they have a very strong roadmap toward becoming or adding a ZK rollup in the future, which is just really amazing. Optimism. They recently did a bunch of upgrades to their fraud-proof design. So one of the things that's happening also is that everything's converging on kind of just EVM compatibility, so just being on the same environment. Right, just like a year ago, Loopring existed, right? Loopring was a ZK rollup, very low fees, very scalable, but all you can do is payments. And it turns out that just like wasn't yet good enough to attract a lot of people. But now, the ZK rollups are moving toward having EVM support. The Optimism, their fraud-proof change allows them to move from being kind of 95% EVM compatible to 100% EVM compatible. So everyone's moving to the same framework, right? And one of the benefits of everyone moving to the same framework is that the things that we're doing at other layers of the stack, right? You can just apply them on layer 1, apply them on all layer 2s at the same time. So for example, the account abstraction stuff, like a multi-sig, social recovery wallet, like all of these ease of use things that I talked about, like the tech is there and you can just put it on the main layer 1, you can put it on Optimism, put it on Arbitrum, put it on ZK Ethereum when that becomes ready, and it just works. So a lot of the pieces of technology are coming together, and also like if you don't deeply understand the technology and you just want something that you can actually use, well, like Arbitrum's there, you can actually use it. Optimism's there. There's a lot of applications you can use. Polygon has been there for a while. You can use it. The kind of the bridging between them is getting better and better. So I'm very optimistic, and it definitely has taken a while. And I think like in the Ethereum ecosystem, we value kind of doing things the properly decentralized way and not taking shortcuts. And that's so we're not the sort of chain that's just going to say, okay, fine, like we're going to raise the gas limit by a factor of 100 and make a block every second, and like who cares if nobody can't run a node anymore, right? Like we don't do that, right? But what that does mean is that to scale, we do have to actually kind of try hard and scale properly. But those efforts are finally paying off. Like the solutions are actually exist, and they're coming online more and more. So I'm very optimistic.
Looking forward to L2 being the gateway for more people into this. Yeah, thank you for taking the time. I think that's all.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
Enjoy the session.
Hope you enjoyed too.